This is a statement on behalf of the Sheku Bayoh family. The Bayoh family are grateful to the First Minister for meeting with them today. The family passed on their thanks to Lord Bracadale for his exemplary leadership, impartiality and integrity, but the family also told the First Minister today that they are absolutely shattered. The family told the First Minister they had listened very carefully last week to Nicole Short's further version of events provided at the Bazaar press conference while she sat next to her lawyer, Mr. Watson, who brandished a knife. In over 10 years, this former officer, who was also an amateur actress, had given 5 statements, as well as an affidavit at court session and a full day of evidence at the inquiry in May 2022. The narrative since May 2015 has been that Sheku Bayoh was a rampaging, drug-fueled, huge black male with a knife, who would have killed Nicole Short had it not been for the actions of the officers. They have smeared, lied and distorted the facts to criminalise, stereotype and negate Sheku's right to life. The true facts are that Sheku was unarmed. He brandished no knife. He was walking with open palms as the police arrived. Even after being CS sprayed and Pava sprayed, he said nothing and kept walking. He was in the midst of a mental health crisis. Despite their training, there was no attempt to de-escalate the situation. He had not hurt anybody. Nicole Short, who was present, had 3 other officers just feet away. She was not the first on the scene, as was claimed. When she extended her baton, Sheku had his back to her and was actually walking away from her. Sheku's family said from the very beginning at their first press conference in May 2015 that if Sheku broke the law, he should have been arrested but did not deserve to die. Unarmed, Sheku Bayoh was 5'10", weighing 12 stones 10 pounds. He was pinned to the ground within 75 seconds of the first officers arriving. He was handcuffed, leg cuffed, ankle cuffed with half a ton of police officers' weight upon him. His body was covered with over 24 cuts, bruises, lacerations and fractured rib in less than 4 minutes. Sheku lost consciousness as he struggled for his last breath. The post-mortem made it clear that the sudden death occurred whilst being restrained. These are the facts that were heard during the inquiry. Today it was explained to the First Minister that in 2019, the then Lord Advocate James Wolfe, as head of the system for the investigation of deaths in Scotland, considered the remit of a fatal accident inquiry would not allow all the serious issues to be investigated and addressed, and he backed a public inquiry. FAIs can examine circumstances and factors leading up to a death, but not what follows. In particular, the post-incident management by the PERC, by Police Scotland, by the Crown Office, and also the actions of the Scottish Police Federation. While some might think the investigation should have started and ended with the restraint to Sheku Bayoh and his death, it does not, but must also investigate the institutional racism accepted by 2 chief constables. The dinosaurs of the Federation might well live in a parallel universe, deny institutional racism, brandish a knife at a press conference, have a former police officer claim that part of her died that day, and then they go on to demand an FAI. The wrecking ball that the Federation took to the inquiry in its final days would not have been successful had the Solicitor General and Chief Constable not cynically hung on to their coattails. The Bayohs don't expect the Federation to shut up, but Police Scotland and the Solicitor General must now end the sabotage, publicly back the inquiry, protect 122 days of evidence taken under oath, and allow the public inquiry to conclude under a new chair. What is important for the family today from this meeting is that the Federation need to stop wasting time demanding a fatal accident inquiry. It is simply not going to happen, and that was confirmed today. The First Minister agreed with the Bayoh family that the public inquiry is of paramount importance and a chair will be found, it will continue, and it will conclude. Thank you.
Aamer, can I ask about timelines in terms of the First Minister giving you the assurance that there will be an inquiry? Is he given any assurance or timelines as to when a new chair will be found? And from what you've heard from the First Minister today, does the family have any confidence that the inquiry can resume?
To be fair to the First Minister, we wrote to the First Minister to ask him. The First Minister can simply look to the Lord President for the Lord President to find a chair, to find a retired judge or a judge to take over this inquiry. So it's a matter. It's out of the First Minister's hand, and it wouldn't be right if the First Minister was to be involved in that process. All that can happen is that when a chair is found, then that chair is agreed, and then the process starts. But as I said, and as the family said today, 122 days of evidence has been taken. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. 122 days of evidence, a team of 25 lawyers literally sat there and never asked a question once. At the end of the inquiry, when written submissions have been prepared, they started to complain. Some of you were actually at press conferences before we went in to meet the chair. There was never any secret meetings at the start of the inquiry, during the inquiry, and in fact, when I received a racist death threat, threatening to kill me if I came back to Kirkcaldy, and the family were receiving racist abuse, the chair spoke about the inquiry and that he was going to meet with the family. So there was nothing secretive about it. But the bottom line here at the end of the day is we can see exactly why the Federation wants a fatal acts inquiry. Well, the bottom line is it's not happening, Mr. Watson. It's not happening. The Federation, forget it. You've had £50 million, the vast majority spent on police lawyers. It's not been wasted. It will only be wasted if this inquiry does not conclude. It can conclude. And the chair has to be brought in to consider the evidence, watch the evidence, and then make a decision, conclude, and make recommendations.
How realistic do you think it is that a new chair can be appointed before we get to the next Scottish Parliament when in terms of it being a new Scottish Parliament?
With the greatest of respect, the family are not concerned with the next Scottish Parliament elections. The whole point of this inquiry was it was such public importance, such serious concerns. It was shined a spotlight for the very first time into our criminal justice system in a way that other investigations had never done so before. And that's why the Federation was rattled. That is why the Solicitor General, that is why the Chief Constable backed them in their antics. So the elections is neither here or there. The family has waited over 10 years. There is no time limit on justice. And let me say this without going into details. The public inquiry was never the end of the process. There are other steps still to come.
Kadi, can I just ask you very briefly, you've told me several times down the last 10 years about losing confidence in various bodies and various people. Do you have any confidence left in anyone that you're going to get the answers you need now?
Well, we've gone 10 years now, so I want to see the end of this. I need answers. That's why I've fought for justice all this while. I need answers, and I want justice for my brother Sheku.
And Gordon, can I just say in terms of that, Mr. Watson, the Federation, Nicole Short, anybody can try, anybody out there wants to recreate a narrative and rewrite a history, go and look at the YouTube footage. It's there. It's in black and white. It's in colour. The documents are there. Their evidence under oath is there. The various versions, the inconsistencies, the incredulity, the expert evidence. We talked about Sheku's injuries. Where are the injuries of these police officers? This big, huge black male that they were terrified, the biggest male they had ever seen, who happened to be 5'10", 12 stones, 10 pounds, with his body wrecked. Why? How did he end up like that? He was handcuffed. He was on the ground. Why didn't they remove themselves from him? I'm going to ask that some legal question. I'm going to say that with regards to Mr. Payton withdrawing from the inquiry, it's neither here or there. His evidence is on record. In fact, the BBC did an investigation which raised serious concerns and allegations of racism with regards to Mr. Payton. So whether Mr. Payton chooses to withdraw now or not is really not a matter for the family. His evidence is on record. His behaviour, his conduct is on record. The documents are there, and that is what any chair coming in will require to consider. It doesn't really matter if anyone withdraws from the police from this inquiry.
Do you fear, though, that given everything we've seen in the last few weeks, that there is no chair who is going to be acceptable to all the participants in this?
I mean, we can't live in a what's called supposed to be a civilised democracy, whereby the police, the Crown Office, the Solicitor General, the PERC and the Police Federation can be allowed to dictate who a chair or a judge should be to investigate their conduct, their behaviour, their illegalities, their misconduct, their criminality. That cannot be right. They're all screaming about the cost of public inquiries. Let's put it simply here. This family would not be standing here today had those police officers been arrested, stood trial. They, of course, had a presumption of innocence and a right to a fair trial, and stood before a jury of their peers, the same as any member of the public here would have been, had a member of the public been found dead after being restrained by 6 members of the press. But that never happened. And then the family fought for 7 years to get to the truth. And then, the last 3 years, they found out they were lied to, obstructed. And it took a public inquiry to get to that. And that is what has rattled and frightened the criminal justice system, because it is a system that has come together to protect its own. And it cannot be right that you have people who are supposed to be accountable, who are supposed to be the guardians of law and order, that can simply dictate what goes on. If it's supposed to be a democracy, then they should just abide by the fact that the next chair gets, and the next stage in terms of the family campaign is this: they will be going to see and asking for a meeting with the Solicitor General. They will be asking for a meeting with the Chief Constable and saying, you repeatedly said over the years you backed the public inquiry. Well, the chair is now gone. Will you back this public inquiry now and dispense of your unholy trinity with the Federation and say you support the public inquiry? So the chair, whoever it is, can get on with their job.
Aamer, can I just ask, do you fundamentally come out of that meeting with the First Minister feeling more confident about it going ahead than when you went in?
The chair is in agreement with the family that this public inquiry is of fundamental importance. It's fundamental importance not just to the family, but it's about the lessons that require to be learnt. We have 2 chief constables who accepted there was institutional racism. I appreciate the SPF are in childlike denial about institutional racism. Everybody else accepts it, apart from one institution, the Scottish Police Federation. So, in terms of confidence, etc., going forward, the family's confidence is shattered. But the family's confidence is shattered in the police, the PERC, the Crown Office, the Solicitor General. They never had any confidence in the Federation. The issue now is about whether a chair can be brought in who can then look through the 122 days of evidence, the documents, and come to a conclusion. That's a matter for the chair. Okay? Right, thank you very much. Thank you.